Hello, and welcome to another video from K-BAS. Today I'll be doing a react video. I'm going to be just like every other YouTuber who does reaction videos. So now I can actually be an actual content creator. So yes, like I said, we're going to do a reaction video. Not technically a full reaction video because I've seen this video, not actually seen it, but I noticed they posted it on the Discord and on the Twitter, but I needed to record a video, so I at least seen a bit of it. But yeah, more or less going to do a reaction video. Going to first see the video first, and then I'm going to make some probably commentary on some things I noticed about the video. So let's get into it. And heads up, yes, this has an English dubbing, as you can see on the title, English voices. So prepare yourself for that. If you're that type who don't like dubbing, then maybe you want to bounce. But all right, let's get into it.
Can't wait to break you open.
Oh, hey! Pleased to meet ya! It's burning. Round one. Fight!
Here it comes!
Oh, come on!
Blast!
Carnage ball!
Don't get
I'm
caught!
done with you!
Way too smooth!
Ouch! Ouch! Diving eagle! One more!
You pissed me!
One more!
Damn it!
Diving eagle! Hey, Smoker! Diving eagle!
Meteor blast! Trash twirl!
This'll do it!
Trash twirl!
Ouch!
You pissed! Die!
Too slow! Ouch! I'm done with you! We have liftoff! Carnage pump!
Meteor blast! Damn it! Die! Come on! Don't get cocky!
You're right!
One more! Move!
Ouch!
Don't get cocky! Trash
Nope.
twirl!
We have liftoff! Carnage pump! I'm done with In the words of a legendary ninja, another one bites the dust! Yuzuha. You're so good! You don't need to fight dirty.
Alright, so that was that trailer that they had dropped on September 25th. We got to see a few things. So now I'm actually going to go ahead and probably give some commentary on it now. Thankfully, this one is actually going to be not the voice, I guess, if you're not a fan of the voice. I had no problem with it. I think the performance was fine. So now, alright, so first off, there are at least a few things I sort of noticed that that has, I don't know if I can say has changed, but let's see when it actually comes up. Alright, for starters, there was a developer's diary and even a Twitter post where they said when the counter goes red, that's because it was a critical. So let's look at that. As you can see, I want to see if an actual, counter hit occurred when that happened. I mean, I don't think that was a counter hit. Let's go ahead and back up a bit more, just to yeah. I mean, it turned red, but does that mean it's actually a counter hit? Because I am more inclined to believe that that means, the combo counter has ended, and the combo counter has ended as far as I'm concerned. But maybe it only shows up red when a person does get critical hit, and which I know we've seen that happen a few times. So let's check a few more. Okay, that was critical, but did it turn immediately red, or did it turn red afterwards? Because we just saw that just now. Alright, she got hit, turned critical, and I know I know the characters have red outlines indicating they suffer a counter hit, but the camera counter is still white. It's not turning red. Now it turned red, which, well, I guess that indicates that the combo is over. So I'm not sure I understand when they said that the that when the combo counter turns red. Maybe I might actually go back and bring that up so we can look at that further. But yeah, it seems like everything just turns red when the combo indicate that combo has ended, or if an invalid combo does confirm. Because I do see something that's red and goes up, and I think there are invalid combo because they can tap. But let's keep going now. Ooh, let's back away for a second. I think we got a bit ahead of myself. Oh dear. I didn't clean this up proper. Oh well. SM's counterburst, it does have that pretty range. She activated. Yeah, actually let's. So one thing that was a case in Phantom Breaker was if you ever grab the opponent who's in overdrive, it will usually make the overdrive end immediately. And I want to see whether the overdrive ended immediately or did it end after M have grabbed her. So let's see what happens. Yeah, as you can see, that red timer was a deeper red, and when M grabbed, it prematurely ended. Let's just go back again so you can see that. As you can see, a much deeper red, or I guess brighter red, and then once M grabs her, it ends immediately. Like as you see, frame by frame. Very short, but as you can see, it ended. And now her meter is actually in overheat state. This basically means your meter can't continue to be filled up. And, you know, basically you can't build any meter or use meter options such as certain guard cancels or supers or ES or heavy special. We got to figure out what we're going to call those going forward. But yeah, there goes the grab. Hit. Okay, so that counter didn't turn red that time. So maybe there is more levity to what they said, how the counter turns red when it's a counter hit. And maybe not everything will be indicated as a critical hit. So I could be wrong in that regards. Now, one thing I'm going to say that I'm noticing, I'm going to assume this is still very much a test build because I'm looking at the guard gauges and the guard gauges still have not really gone down or show deterioration. And Phantom Breaker, when someone does a guard attack, when someone guard is, getting weakened, it turns red. And I haven't seen that at all. So, yeah. And they're using a lot of guard counsel. Okay, well, this is a combo turn red. I'm personally the impression that that means an invalid combo. Let's go ahead and take a look at that one more time. So this is the tension mode in case you haven't guessed, or in case you didn't know. Whenever certain action builds up the tension meter, then tension mode starts. And this is one of the reasons why I do think Phantom Breaker Omnia is an improvement of the old games, because in the old games, it was just a bar that went down. You didn't really have an idea how long tension mode lasts or how much you have. Now, in this one, they actually give you a timer, which I believe, again, is a very big improvement. I am a fan of it. I think that was a critical hit combo. Yeah, I think that was a critical hit. Yeah, she did turn red, so that was a counter hit combo. So it looks like they were actually right when it says it's a. Now I still think that it turned red earlier because she could have tech out of that, because as we did see before. See. Now, usually you are able to tech after a sequence like that, do a soft ground tech, bounce up. But I'm going to assume the player was not quick enough, and that's how the M was able to get an additional follow-up from that. Now, this is the reflection mechanic. Now, this is something in the older games was originally only in extra style, but they did mention how to give it to all styles. Technically, you also did have reflection in older Phantom Breaker, like a Phantom Breaker Another Code. Reflection was on all styles, but then when Extra, Phantom Breaker Extra came out, they gave it to Extra only. But now it seems like they reverted back on that choice and gave it to all styles. I'm not sure how I feel about that personally, because I did think because one thing about Reflection is they're good at dealing against low attacks, because the thing about like these counterburst attack, as you have seen before, they have armor. Let's bring this up. As you can see, they have armor for the most part. So, and who is calling me? This is not the time. Sorry, where was I now? Yes, in Phantom Breaker Counterburst, these were basically this game's version of, let's say, Street Fighter's focus attack. So they had to hit our armor, they even have a bit of guard points, but when you did a low attack against them, it would beat that. So that was kind of like everyone's guaranteed way to beat a person who was using Counterburst. But when it came to Extra Style, who have Reflection, that was their way to deal. Basically, you could reflect low attacks. You still couldn't, guard or clash get low attacks, but you could reflection low attacks. And I thought that was good for Extra to have, since Slipship Counterburst, they were the fastest like attacks in the game, and normally they were plus, and they were able to follow with combos. In Hardstyle, they had unblockable attacks. So it's like, okay, well, this is how Extra's Counterburst can be special. It have reflection, but now they give it to all styles. And as you can see on this frame, you see how it shows this glass breaking effect? One of the reasons why it shows this glass breaking effect, because whenever the person attacks someone who does do reflection on them, their actual guard gauge diminish. This is basically an actual defensive way of making someone's guard gauge be weaker and whatnot. And of course, it will just show, hey, you're stunned. You're not fully stunned because you can tech eventually, but you are stunned. And actually, if we go back, we just saw how, again, Counterburst has guard points and clash frames. As you can see, actually, it managed to reflect that. One thing about reflection is, how should I say that? This, I know when you time reflection properly, you get a stun. If you don't time it properly, then you still get reflection, but instead of the opponent being stunned, then basically they just move at a slower rate instead. So, yeah. Now, one thing I definitely want to comment that I noticed about the Yuzuha's overdrive activation, we're going to take a look at one more time. Now, one thing I want to do is take a look at M's meter once Yuzuha start attacking. All right. So, one thing I want to comment is, in old Phantom Breaker, whenever you did a throw attack, it usually never gave your opponent any meter when you did a throw attack on them. But now it seems in Phantom Breaker Omnia, when you do a throw attack, your opponent gets maybe at least 1 to 2 percentage of their gauge build. But then not only that, anytime you do a combo in Overdrive, because your attacks were considered special attack, it usually gave a lot of meter. I'm actually going to showcase this after this video so you can see what I mean. But as right now, it looks like it doesn't build that much meter. So it looks like being attacked don't build that much meter anymore. Oh, that was a good reflection. Actually, there we go. That's the thing I actually wanted to comment on. So normally, let's see. Let's bring this up. Well, actually, let's go ahead and look at that sequence one more time. So, one, that's M's counterburst when she flashes and then does this swipe. And because she's in quick style, we're going to see her actually dash cancel. This is slip shift dash cancel now. So she can try to continue her pressure, well, not pressure, attack string. That is the benefit of using quick style over hard style, who initially had something like this. Let's look at this real quickly. Well, that's reflection. Now look how Yuzuha uses counter burst and holds into it to keep more clash frames or guard frames. Sometimes the game won't be different. And you see how after she does a full charge, she's now doing an attack that's about to hit the opponent. Alright, you see how she got hit and now M's about to go wall bounce now? Okay, I think I made VLC player messed up. Let's back up for a second. As you can see, calls a wall bounce. Now that's normally what critical burst does if you're using a hard style. If you charge your counter burst long enough, you will get an attack, and then the opponent will experience a wall bounce. Now that's normally exclusive for hard style, but now it seems that quick style has that, and I am not sure if I am a fan of it right now, because I like the ideas that different styles give different perks and benefits. The more we make all styles have the same thing, the less those differences feels apparent. So I'm not personally sure how I feel about that. Maybe I could sort of be okay with the wall bounce, but I'm hoping that it's not still unblockable compared to hard style, but we'll see. Right now, you're seeing a lot of person just using counter burst just to stop their opponent and whatnot. Which how Phantom Breaker keep. Actually, was that the guard gauge just going down? I want to go back because. So it looks like M's guard gauge actually did went down. Like you see how her guard gauge is slightly darker now. That's an indication of the guard gauge being more weaker and whatnot. So it looks like your guard gauge does get weaker, but it seems even, what's what I want to say, that guard gauge does not get guard crushed that often, which I am not personally sure how I feel about that at the moment. So yeah, that was that bench video. So with that, alright, as you can see, I have Phantom Breaker loaded up now. So first things first. Here it goes, M, quick style, and we have Yuzuha, quick style also. Any stage will do just fine, just any stage will do. So let's see what one of the first things I wanted to talk about that I seen. Alright, for starters, let's look at the tension meter. As you can see, the little bar that's at the bottom, that's the tension meter. And whenever it does fill up, as you can see, just in those small increments and whatnot. So I'm going to keep doing this for a second. So yeah, once the tension meter fills up, then that's when tension mode starts and it goes down. But in Extra, unlike Omnia, when the tension mode has started, it just goes down. It doesn't give you an indication how long it's going to be, so you don't know. Yeah, you don't really know pretty much how long you have in that state. So I like that Omnia shows you pretty much the time limit it goes. I'm pretty sure if you're paying attention to the video, you'll see how it went from 4 seconds to 8 seconds, or maybe like 4 to 7 seconds. So it seems like every time you do activate tension mode, it increases the timer the next time tension mode starts. But not only that, as you can see, you see how the meter is right now, how it has a blue hue. So that's like considered maybe a 10% increment of tension mode. So every time tension mode also passes, I think tension mode starts off with an increment afterward, or not tension mode, but the tension gauge. Like, let's go ahead and do this again. As you can also see, if you look at the screen, you see how the camera is a little more closer to players as opposed to Omnia where the screen is a little more far back. I think that might help the zoning a bit. But now let's look at this. Alright, now look at the tension gauge as it finishes. As you see, now it's at another increment. So yeah, that's one thing about tension mode. I'm glad that they added a timer. I think another thing I like to point out about tension mode, which I'm going to go ahead and just activate tension mode here so you can see it for yourself. So when tension mode is activated, look what happens to your burst gauge. It fills up one gauge by itself. So that's what tension mode does. Even if you do something, well, we're going to go ahead and start that over. As you can see, my gauge is still building even though I use the ES. So yeah, the tension gauge always build one gauge of your character's meter, with the exception of, well, in extra style, it'll build 2 gauges. I've yet to see if Omnia still does that. I would imagine it does, so we'll have to wait and see. But then, so here's the next thing I want to show. Let's see. Alright, well, let the tension mode do its thing. Now look at happens. Now look at my opponent's gauge as I hit them. Let's look at, well, let's not sit. First hit, no guard. Burst gauge max. Really? Let's try that again. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. That's the emergency mode. That's the game burst. As long as you have meter, you can do that. Now, as you can see the opponent's gauge, look how it is right now. So, this is how much your opponent built when they were taking damage from, let's say, M's hard attack strain. So, you see 6%. Now, let's do that one more time. Hold on. Let this, let the tension one go. Now look how much meter they do when I do the same thing but in overdrive. As you can see, they got 16 as opposed to, I think, 6. But that may not have been the best thing to use, so let's do something else now. So actually, I'm going to show you something else that I mentioned again. Remember how M did this? And that's... I do not have recovery on, do I? Yep, that's why I messed up. So, replay that. So, yeah, when M hits a point with this, it causes a soft knockdown. As you can see, they didn't experience that ground bounce. Now, if I took recovery off, then they wouldn't, you know, have the tech. They would just get ground bounce. Now, I did kind of just mess up because I did want you to take a look at that meter. So let's do that one more time. Of course, I did mess it up. So pay attention to the gauge that the opponent has, and look how much this attack sequence does. So that does 15, or well 14. So now let's do that when I'm in overdrive. Oh dear. That, of course, that's not gonna work. So as we just remember, when I did that, I think that's called Rubber Crush command, it gave her 14. Now look what happens when I'm in overdrive. 48. So whenever you're in overdrive, your opponent got even more additional meter on top of what you did. But as we remember watching that video, that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. It seems the damage you take and gain, it seems the amount of meter you get from the damage you're taking is more or less lessened, which I guess I'm not sure how much I feel about that at the current state, because there are a lot of very strong supers and whatnot. I like the fact that you have to be mindful of, okay, if I do this attack and if I give my opponent a lot of meter, you know, is the trade-off worth it? Is it okay for me to, you know, push the advantage, use my super, use overdrive to maybe get whatever advantage I want to get, but also give my opponent a lot of meter to either burst out or use against me and whatnot. Ah, okay, so alright, so it looks like I may have been wrong when I said how throws usually didn't give meter. Maybe that was a different character? Because I remember doing a couple of throw loops and it didn't really give the point of meter, but it looks like that is the case, so you know, correction on Keon Pratt. Keon Pratt doesn't know his game. That's a shame. So yeah, overdrive does that. Now let's look at something else. Let's actually take off tension.